Morning. Starting the day off right. Out here on the bridge. Cup of coffee. The guy can't ask for much more than that. Water levels are still very high. I was hoping to get out, maybe do some fly fishing, but I don't think I'd be having much luck with the water moving this fast. Pretty murky too, so we'll wait for the water levels to go down before we try our hand at that. So today, we're getting started on the Firewood shack. Yesterday, spent the day doing all my yard work. Got the grass all mowed down. I had a few different debris piles around from projects gone by. So I raked all them up, brought them over here by the fire pit. Still got a lot to go through, but I've been having a burn pile going. Started this yesterday, kept it going throughout the night. And yeah, just burning stuff away. It's pretty nice too, having the smoke going, really keeps the bugs down. And this is where the Firewood shack is gonna go. The wood that was stacked up between these two stumps I put back in my wood piles there. So we got a lot of work to do right here, but we're gonna get going on it today and see how far we can make it. My plan with this Firewood shack is to spend no money on lumber to make everything with the wood available here in the bush. So we'll see how far I can get with that. Well, luckily I don't have to go too far from the cabin. There's a bunch of dead standing trees here. I think I'm going to stick with dead standing. That way I know the wood's going to be good, dry, not rotten, versus some stuff that's already on the ground. There's a few good trees right here. Unfortunately, they're all leaning away from the trail, so they might be a little bit harder to get out, but that's okay. there we go. 6 logs to start. Probably be busy with these for the next couple days. But all in all, not too bad. So these 6 logs that I just got are basically going to be the frame for this firewood shack. Each one has to get peeled of its bark though, which is going to be a long and tiring process. Well, that lasted longer than I had hoped. It was actually raining pretty good there for a bit. But had myself a little lunch break, made a pot of coffee. For now it stopped raining, but there's still lots of storm clouds all around. So we'll see if it starts raining again, but for now it's back to work. In addition to peeling the logs, I'm also going to be charring the outsides of them, which should help to prevent rot and decay, and it should also help to keep insects from getting into the wood. You might be wondering why I'm going through the trouble of peeling the bark and then putting it in the fire. You might think, why not just burn the bark off of it? But this is much, much faster to do this way. As you can see behind me, I have the next tree already peeled, ready for burning before this first one is even burned. So you can imagine if there was a layer of bark on there, it would take way longer. And if you had bark on here, it'd be a lot more difficult to control the burn. It'd be patchy. Some parts of bark would burn off really easily, others would stick on, and you'd end up with this speckly mess, and you'd end up doing a lot of extra work just trying to get a nice consistent burn across all the wood. So this is working pretty good. This is the way I'm gonna do it. First log is peeled, burned. One last step is, if I left it the way it is now, every time I brushed up against it, I'd get covered in charcoal. So I just use a wire brush. I'm just gonna scrape away all this excess char. It's just gonna leave a nice dark wood underneath, and then it'll be ready for oiling. Doesn't this log just look beautiful? Love the way a charred log looks. Now I know people are going to say that I should be wearing a mask when I do this, and you're right, I should be. You don't want to be breathing this stuff in, but it was an oversight on my part to bring one, and I got to get this done. I'm over halfway done peeling this log. Got to this point, notice it's got a big crack in it. Must have hit the ground a little hard and broken right here. I mean, the wood's still good and sound, but when it hits the ground with that much force, it can definitely crack the wood. So that's unfortunate. That means tomorrow I'll have to go and cut a new pole to replace that one. Well, these 3 logs are completely done, peeled, burned, scraped. Sure is a messy process. Not too sure what I'm going to do with this mess once I'm done here, but I have to figure out a way to get it kind of cleaned up at least. Left to do is peel these long logs. I'm not going to burn these ones because they're going to be up off the ground and they'll be protected from the elements, whereas these shorter logs here, they're going to be more exposed to the elements. That's why I'm doing this extra step of burning them to give them a little bit better chance of being rot resistant. And then I got to replace this one and get it peeled and burned. So hopefully by the end of tomorrow all the logs will be prepped and ready to go so I can begin building. Working with these logs is not a clean task though. My hands are dirty. I got all this sap, and look at that big old glob of sap there, covered in charcoal dust. I used to work at a lumber mill and working on the production line. It was hard work. And so we just wear t-shirts, pair of jeans, and we wore gloves, but you have bare arms, so by the end of your shift you're just covered in sap. One day I go into work and my buddy Harlan pipes up, asks me, "Do you ever shower?" And here I think he's going to tell me that I smell. And I say, "Yeah, of course I shower. I go home after every shift and I shower." He says, "Well, why are you still covered in tree sap?" And I had sap all over my arms from the previous shift. I say, "Well, it doesn't come off in the shower. With soap and water, it doesn't come off." And he chuckles. He says, "Put some hand sanitizer on it." What? Yeah, put hand sanitizer on it. The alcohol takes it right off. I didn't really believe him, so I went home, and before my shower I put hand sanitizer on all the sap that was stuck to me, and sure enough it came right off. And then hopped in the shower, and after that felt like $1,000,000. So that's what I keep with me whenever I'm out in the bush, especially when I'm doing stuff like this or even chopping wood, because I always get covered in sap. I don't know why, but a little hand sanitizer, that's a trick for you. That's one major takeaway from that job was my buddy Harlan. Harlan, if you're watching, love you, brother. But yeah, him telling me that hand sanitizer takes sap off, that's it's always stuck with me since then. Yeah, look at that. Got a big old glob of sap right there. Comes right off. Here, look at my hand. Put a little sanitizer. There you go. So just a little tip for you guys. Thought it was kind of a funny story too. Well, I'm calling it. It's the end of the day for me. Gonna go, I'll get cleaned up a bit, get all this charcoal dust off me, have myself a quick supper, and then we'll be back at it tomorrow, hoping to get those logs completely finished. Then we can move on to actually building. So, appreciate you guys watching. Hope you enjoyed. Until next time, God bless and stay wild.